All right. So, hello everybody. Welcome to another PMI Greece chapter event. Today, we are proud to co-organize an event with PMO Global Institute. My name is Achilles Zazaru. I'm proudly serving the role of Vice President of Events for PMI Greece chapter. I want to start by genuinely thank PMO Global Institute for supporting this event. Corinne, Grace, Nadine, thank you so much for your support. I want to thank everybody for being here today. And please allow me to especially thank the Passion team of events for making this happen today. Konstantinos and Lazare, thank you so much for always being positive. And I would like to make clear that today's topic does not serve as another informative event on this beautiful evening. For us, it is another chance to be actually engaged, to be part of our community, to understand, to contribute with our interaction, and to reshape together the next day of project management and PMO in Greece. So please be part of our effort, and we're more than happy. It will give us energy to continue what we're doing today. So I will leave the floor to the president of PMI Greece chapter, Ms. Zaina Agnostopoulou.
So, thank you for that, and thank you to everybody. Kalispera, this is my native language. And thank you for being here, all the members of the PMI Greece chapter and the fellow project managers and the chapter friends. It's true that we have invited you today, and we invite you to enjoy this new event as part of our new series of events. This insightful discussion with the presence of the PMO Global Institute representatives. And we would like to welcome the PMO Global, which, as I see professed in its corporate statement, prepares organizations and individuals to work smarter in this ever-changing project management office world. So today we're discussing fast-tracking your PMO, a subject with coming here with our own accumulated knowledge from organizations where we all know that project management sometimes isn't working and PMO has not been functioning properly or is non-existent. So the project is not supported to be on time, within budget or within scope, and teamwork maturity is lacking its vision. And we do realize today that based on the subject that we're discussing, that fast-tracking the PMO in an organization is somewhat of a big challenge. And it's true that there have been successful stories and best cases shared by all the professionals that I am reading regarding, and scholars and associations regarding what are the dozen golden rules when fast-tracking a PMO. Focus on minimal and clear objectives at first. Start slow and set realistic expectations. Pause at sometimes, others say, during the process. Any increase of services offered, and fine-tune what you have already offered as a PMO in the organization. Develop these thresholds of time, these moments of truth where the PMO needs to assess its initial period and then go ahead. Others say and argue that concentrate on building the organizational standards and process maturity is a golden rule, and be always aware of each period's readiness when the organization undergoes a change. Cultivate, with the help of the PMO, political awareness of the value when implementing changes, and sponsor the education of your people, of the project team members on all the skills of the project management. Promote coaching by the PMO and find within your team this right open-minded manager, the leader who harvests the vision for the optimal PMO. Building a commonly used non-complex stories and tools like the repository of project, keeping things simple, less complex. And these are the golden stories, the golden rules, the best practices, but we have also been discussing these days other stories. Then what not to do footpaths, resulting from cases where we know that PMO is struggling from lack of leadership or from just being considered another administration unit. And why do we need them? So PMO sometimes has not the right sponsorship to affect the change that we need. And there is inefficiency sometimes in the team in prioritize even the simplest of things, the projects, and aligning them with strategy. And sometimes we all understand that there's lack of know-how for even improving this simple thing that the shareholders always see, the return on investment. Challenges of providing good portfolios sometimes are not met, and sometimes growing mistrust of project delivery by the PMO is a heartache. And what about key stakeholders? Are we always there? Are we always understanding stakeholders as the PMO members? Are we managing their expectations? How true is that? And how true is that in the early stages of PMO, as per my experience, and in its early stages of mobilization of PMO, it's highly needed to raise this overall awareness of a standardization of even the simplest of processes, like having a charter, a project charter, a business case, a clearly stated scope of works in and out, and to exploit any synergies when you're doing a project inside and outside the project horizon and your organization, and standardize the process for capturing on time, real time, the right information and feedback that you need. So PMO fast tracking, as per my understanding, is performed with a surgical accuracy on one hand, but with a sheer freedom of creativity on the other hand, in order not to accelerate potential risks within the days. Withstanding all these things and what to do and what not to do, I would like to emphasize today more on understanding and applying during your creating your PMO, fast tracking your PMO, the principles of emotional intelligence within your PMO. Fast tracking by all means entails for me the establishment of an ecosystem where team members and sponsors and the management communicate with clarity, they deal effectively with project challenges, they make committed choices, they act strategically and swiftly, and they understand each other using emotional intelligence as a critical factor for success. It's the availability to provide the correct project environment for the team members in order for the team members to be motivated and use the best of their potential. And today's business world, we know that the workforce following COVID has completely different needs relating to fulfillment of their values. And am I talking about an emotional intelligence of just being nice or authentic or meeting your own needs or their own needs or helping others? So is it true that teams that attain and sustain high performance have a high emotional intelligence quotient? And are we all aware that according to contemporary studies, as I see, emotional intelligence, EQ also, is now considered to be twice as important as IQ, the technical experience. And when you have a good EQ, you can use your IQ as a member to make rational changes inside your PMO, inside the project. Because the IQ is fairly fixed, but the team's EQ can be raised, and a high EQ will allow the team members to better use their own IQ. And don't we all know amazing IQs and project team members who just don't get it? They just offend people, they're poor team members, they're sarcastic, they cannot be able to build relationships, they are defensive, and they're having a hard time sustaining commitment. And don't we know teams with high EQ who are able to do the best, to weather the storms, to avoid taking things personally, to network effectively within organization, and focus on efforts and goals? As per my realization during the last years, a high emotional intelligence, along all the other things, allows you to discover and express your authenticity as a team member, and recognizing and responding and respecting yourself will cause others to recognize and respond and respect you. So PMOs with high EQ, I think they can increase trust leverage the potential of others, create all these breakthrough strategies for increasing at the end their shareholder value. So positioning emotional intelligence to the center of operation of your PMO, enabling your team to grow, improve the self-awareness, improve the self-management, the self-motivation, interpersonal management, leadership. Leadership when we all know that it inspires and it guides and challenges and supports the team. I think it's among these tools that can help you when you are fast-tracking your PMO. So it's all about, based on my experience, creating this inner culture of understanding the talent, your people, aligning skills and aligning those with the project management, great tools and softwares, and commit with an openness to have a creative autonomy and have team members with a sense of fulfillment, engaging their hearts as well as their minds. Avoid sarcasm and understand emotions are not good or bad. They just provide cues. Identify all these goals along the way and listen, as we all have been told. So thank you again for being here. Thank you for listening to my realization of how we can really build a PMO and value through all that. Thank you again for your presence, and the PMO representatives. Enjoy this event and share your experience. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Honestly, that was so inspiring. Your speech was so inspiring. And yeah, I will be the first that will check the YouTube link again. I will check it again. So thank you so much for your great speech. And yeah, we move with Nadine. Nadine, please.
Good evening, professional project managers. I'd like to say thank you to Zanina for such a deep and thoughtful speech. I'm Nadine, the event manager at PMO Global Institute, and today I will be your moderator. So the PMI Greece chapter team did a terrific preparatory work, and we all are grateful to you, participants, for coming to this Wednesday's evening event. It will be valuable and joyful for you. I promise it. So cheer up and stay tuned till the end of the event, because you will have the chance to win great prizes. And now I'd like to start our main session and make a short introduction. Let's see what are learning objectives for today's event. Today we will learn how PMO setup works. We will learn tools and techniques to apply CB PMO framework. All of you will increase your visibility and become recognized within your organization and peer circle. You will make use of the best practices in PMO and increase the success rate of your projects. And you will earn 2 PDUs, 2 contact hours. Also, we have much more benefits. All participants will get the CB PMO framework. You will get access to the largest PMO community, and 5 lucky winners of our Kahoot game will win full year PMO Global Institute memberships. And also you will get 10% discount on PMOGI PMO certification program. This is the price of our Kahoot game, the digital copy of the PMO guidebook. Also, let's see who we are. So PMO Global Institute is the global body for PMO certifications, representing global project management office, including project, program, and portfolio managers involved in defining, establishing, and running high-performing project management offices in and across industry sectors. The objective of PMO Global Institute is to make PMO learning available to project professionals across the globe through certifications, events, networking, and hands-on knowledge sharing. PMO Global Institute have members in 100+ countries and also have 70+ partners in 60 countries. PMO, 46% of PMO directors said that their organization doesn't understand the value of project management. 68% of stakeholders perceive the PMO as bureaucratic. And now I'd like to pass the floor to Achilles Lazarou to speak on the topic challenges of PMO in Greece. So please, Achilles, take the floor.
Thank you so much, Nadine, and thank you so much for trying to pronunciate my name. I know it's totally Greek. So all right, thank you so much for this. All right, okay, let me share my screen right now, and hopefully you can see my screen right now. All right.
Yes,
So
we can.
Okay, let's start, and I will start by making sharing a couple of slides, about the main PMO challenges in Greece. Please allow me to restate that our purpose here today is not just to share some informative slides. Myself, we are proud to be part of an amazing team of volunteers. We're proud to be part of this amazing institute, and we're trying hard. We're trying to be ambassadors of this institute, and we're trying hard to engage more people in our community, to make all the community understand the value, to contribute with our interaction. And we're trying to together reshape the next day of project management. This is not just some beautiful words. It's actually our purpose and what we're trying to do here as an institute. So let's start with some numbers, right? I just want to share some numbers initially. Just to have a better understanding where we stand today, right? So, and have a good idea of our market. So, first things that 58%, only 58% of organizations fully understand the value of project management. So, please, everybody understand that professionals right now in Greece, they are still not familiar with project management, and that is a KPI, is a figure to understand what is our starting point right now. 42% are resistant to change and the idea of adopting new project management methodologies. All right, and so at this moment, we will talk a lot for the key notion of change, and all these dimensions close to the change that we need. So 41% say that the biggest challenge is demonstrating the value add a PMO represents, right? So at this moment, in simple words, organizations, they're missing why. What is the why behind a PMO structure? And on the other hand, to balance, these slides, I want to share that 8% of high performance organizations have a project management office. So we need to demonstrate, we need to understand, and we need to reflect what is the value of this structure and how it can practically give value to our everyday business. Right. So let's see what's the reason behind why we have this kind of rates right now in Greece. Right. So I will just highlight the three main challenges, for our reference and moving forward for the presentation of the PMO Global Institute. So I would initially going to introduce the notion of the organizational cultural maturity. At the moment, everybody will work on a non-normal market, right? Resilience, flexibility are now the top skills, as we speak, right? So in order to apply such practices, that calls for cultural adjustment, central coordination, and speedy answers, right? So it's needless to say that we see a large number of companies to stick to a rigid culture that calls for structural adjustments and for a change-friendly mindset. So at this moment, most of the people they fail to manage the resistance for change, and as most of these organizations they have PMO as a bureaucratic division. It's not yet part of their DNA. So where we need to place PMO right now in Greece is a PMO that it looks beyond the project to understand the strategic business goals and make sure each project is providing value to the organization. People need to see the added value. Right now, they see PMO solely as a must-do action. It's not a tool that can serve the brand's purpose. Forward, my second notion, the key notion, is the project management maturity. So it's needless to say that more and more people, we get more attention at this moment, and regarding project management, and we sadly see a lot of people to hold and handle the project management certification as an academic statement. They're just filling a line in their CVs, and it's not for them a way for working. It's just certification. So at this moment, we lack of experienced project managers and project management competency. So we need to have project management in our everyday business. We need to have it as a way of working. And we need, of course, to obtain support from opinion leaders. We're missing that right now in Greece. We need to hire experienced program managers who understand the organization. They're bringing the most talented project managers into the PMO implementation, and they adopt a flexible change management strategy, and they standardize processes prior to PMO implementation. So what we need is all these professionals. They need to make a difference, and they need to bring impact and value to the organization, so as everybody to understand why there's a need for restructuring, why there's a need for such instruments. The third notion is the lack of PMO empowerment in organization empowerment and organization value streams. So what we see right now is that organizations are focused on the value they deliver to their customers. And that's true. And how they try to differentiate and participate in the creation of value. However, we see that PMOs right now in Greece, they remain stuck in their command and control model to ensure that projects are delivered on time and on budget. Their contribution to the value streams of the organization, they're just marginal, and therefore they're considered by senior management as an expense. And I think that's the main phrase right now that maybe can describe the market. PMO is not an expense for an organization. PMO is an instrument that brings value. PMO needs to have a shift from a control model to an instrument that brings value, and needs to make people understand and start changing their culture. And that needs people, that needs opinion leaders. And that's what we need right now in our market. So at this moment, that's more or less what we see right now in Greece, and we'll try to highlight the main principles. So thank you so much for the time today for me as a speaker, and more than happy to follow forward the presentation. Thanks.
Thank you, Achilles, for sharing highlights of challenges of PMO in Greece. And now we are going to hand over to Grace Whitehead. Grace is a PMP with over 12 years of project management experience and 20 years in higher education. Grace recently became a partner with PMO Global Institute and is excited to share her wisdom from leading IT, research, and the healthcare projects in Western Canada. An educator by trade, Grace is patient about helping others achieve their potential. Her leadership philosophy is to recognize and develop the strength in others and foster an environment of well-being and lifelong learning. So the floor is yours, Grace, please.
Thank you, Nadine. That was a really overwhelming introduction. Thank you so much. And thank you, PMI Greece, for having me here today. This is such a pleasure. I am overwhelmed and in awe in the introduction so far today. Hopefully, not hopefully, you will definitely learn something from this presentation. I hope, though, that everybody can take away some nugget and apply it into your current practice or in your current or in your future endeavors. So hopefully you will have some takeaways from this presentation and how to fast track your PMO. Before I get into the presentation, just a little bit about myself. In addition to what Nadine said, I would say though, like the passion comes from my leadership and education. And I started my career as a teacher when I was in my early 20s and quickly grew into project management from there and have been in higher education since. But more recently, the last 2 years, and everyone's going to say, you're crazy. I've been in healthcare, and I started in healthcare at the start of the pandemic. And people say, why would you want to do projects during a pandemic? And the simple answer was, well, I was asked. They needed strong leadership. They needed strong project managers at the time. And I stepped up and did my part during this pandemic. I'm not a healthcare professional, but I do bring into the role, like I said, that strong leadership and helping set the course and reset the course through our projects in healthcare. I've implemented 2 new IT systems in 2 different healthcare organizations in Western Canada through this pandemic. It's practically broken me. I'll be honest. It's been very, very challenging to get healthcare professionals taught and understanding a new technology system, a new computer system, while they are dealing with a pandemic. So it's been awfully challenging, and of course, been almost impossible to bring in external resources because the whole world is going through the pandemic. So I am so happy with our healthcare and the challenges we have overcome. We have successfully implemented 2 new computer systems in 2 different parts of Canada. I'm working now on another phase of a project in my province of Alberta, Canada. So we are doing great. Shows how resilient the healthcare system can be. And really, it's tested my own resiliency as a leader. So hopefully I can share with you some nuggets of that wisdom through this presentation. Without further ado, I will share my presentation with you.
Yes, we can see it.
Fantastic. So how to fast track your PMO? PMO, Project Management Office. That's what we're talking about here, is the Project Management Office. A great acronym to remember how to do this is that PMO acronym, the Purpose, Measure, and Optimize. So not only does it mean Project Management Office, it means that we're going to have purpose, we'll measure, and we will optimize to get our best PMO. Let's start with that purpose. What is a purpose? A purpose is the reason we exist, the reason for which something is done or created and for which something exists. It's the why. And that's where we start. You need to start with that. If you do not start with a purpose, you are going in the direction of chance. You are leaving everything to chance if you do not start with that purpose. We're trying to lead to change. So you're trying to lead your team into that direction. I now have a team of 24, and if I do not start each meeting with our purpose, then I am leaving that meeting to chance and we're wasting time. So we start everything we do, not just the whole project, not just the PMO, with everything that we do, we start it with a purpose. And maybe it reiterates the purpose of why we're here. For me, in my organization right now, at the end of the day, we want patient safety and better patient care. I don't care that we're implementing a computer system. We do have to start with our purpose and why we're here. I want you to think, now this is a moment for you to do some self-reflection. And I really loved what your president, I hope I don't butcher her name, Zanina, said about leadership and about EQ and self-reflection. Before you can lead a team, you have to know who you are as a leader. So take a moment right now to write your purpose statement. And it could be your personal purpose statement. It could be about your organization, could be about the project you're working on. But take a few moments to say why you exist, or why your organization exists, or why your project exists, and who are you serving. Effective leadership, in other words, comes from a place of servitude. And so understanding that for yourself in your mind will help you lead your team to an excellent project management office. So please take a moment to think about that. And in the chat box, I'd love it if we could see some responses, and we'll read some of those. So I'll give you a moment to do that. So whenever anyone is ready, please do type in the chat box a purpose statement. I'd love to see what some people have come up with.
Yeah, feel free, everybody. Feel free to share your purpose.
We exist to serve the team in order to serve the community. That is profound. Thank you so much. We exist to protect the country in order to serve the Greek. Love it. Love it. Maybe we can get one more. If not, thank you so much to those of you who have shared. That's very special. And that's a little just tiny activity you can do with your teams. You can talk about that in a team building exercise or as you're introducing a new project. Bring the value in order to serve our own family and country. Oh, Nadine, that's beautiful. We exist to serve each other in order to serve the common good. Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing those statements. How does the purpose, now I'm going to move on, but how does the purpose now come into the whole play of how we're setting up our PMO, our project management office? I am going to extract some information now from our PMO guidebook, which is the standard for how we teach the project management office best practices. When we're talking about these lessons, we are going to be referring to this wheel, this very colorful wheel of the layers. We have 4 layers. There's a foundation, executable, supporting, and leadership layer. So we'll go through these 4 layers today, and you'll have a better understanding of how we set up a PMO. We're starting, of course, with that foundation layer first. As we move into these 4 layers, you will see that just like you do in project management, we have 49 processes in project management. For the PMO, we have 26 processes, and this is how they're all going to come together. So you'll see how this comes together by the end of this presentation. That foundation layer is this top part, these 7 processes, and we'll go through that in just a moment. Coming back to purpose, defining your purpose is the foundation to your PMO, and that's why we're going to talk about that foundation layer. And coming to that foundation layer, we have those 7 processes. Okay, so let's go through these processes so that you can have your foundation layer for your PMO. Starting with those business objectives. How do you know your business objectives? Probably the first error a PMO can make is the PMO leader thinking, I think this is how it should go. as soon as you say, I think, you are wrong, because you need to see how your vision aligns with the business objectives. So starting with those SMART goals, having those conversations are key. So you can understand the business objectives, because at the end of the day, your PMO serves your organization. So making sure that there is that alignment, having those conversations up front, and that will help you determine your PMO strategy. Okay, so objectives and strategy have to align, and then you can move forward from there. If you have a PMO, do a health check. How healthy is your PMO? I'll just give you an example of maybe what that might look like. And we have one in our guidebook. It's in the appendix. If you do these are just sample questions, but just yes or no. Do you have a charter? Yes or no. Do you have a roadmap? Yes or no. Do you have PMO KPIs? Yes or no. So it's just a checkbox, quick checkbox about how well you're doing. And then that will help you assess how healthy the PMO is. And then we can get into a maturity assessment, which is a deeper dive. And you're going to rate your PMO on a scale of 0 to 5. Are we initiating? Are we just in our baby phase? Or are we optimized, which is at the maximum end of things? So you're going to want to just see where you fit on that bar. And that's a deeper dive into your processes, your people, your governance, everything. So that's where you do that deeper dive. And that will take a lot longer, obviously. When we are now looking at the definition and analysis of our PMO functions, we're trying to identify those gaps. So that's a gap analysis there. You're going to first define what you think is the ideal PMO for your organization. You will do an analysis and say, how far off the mark are we? That's your typical gap analysis. Once you know where you want to be and you've determined where you are, you can create your roadmap to help you get to where you need to be. And then, just like in any project, you're going to create a charter. Very similar to a project charter, but this is your PMO charter, where you describe your objectives, goals, timelines, budget, high level, of course, of your PMO. And then you will have created that foundation. We all know that charter anchors us. The charter grounds us into understanding what we are all about and how long it will take us to get there, how much money we want to spend, and what our essentially our SMART goals are. I'm going to pause right there because that summarizes our foundation layer. Are there any questions before I move forward to the other layers of our PMO? Thanks, Corinne, for answering that question about the slides.
No problem.
Okay, I'm just looking at the chat to see if there are others questions. Okay. So moving on, coming back to our PMO approach, we covered purpose, which is that the foundation layer. Now we're going to measure. Before we get into measurement, let's look at a few quotes, because measurement is, some people like the word, some people don't like the word. What does it mean, though, in terms of a project management office? And so let's just look into some quotes here, just for inspiration to get us thinking about this, because we will be talking a little bit deeper into KPIs. But first, let's look at this. So Francis Bacon says, whenever you can, count. Albert Einstein says, not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts. Robert Heinlein says, if it can't be expressed in figures, it is not science, it is opinion. Lord Calvin says, if you cannot measure it, you cannot control it. And project managers love to be in control, don't we? And Doug Pratt says, if it moves, it can be measured. And if it can be measured, it can be changed. Okay, so when we're looking at our measurement and how we assess and evaluate and reiterate, because why? Why are we doing measurement? We care about quality. We care about doing this, not just doing it, but doing it well. So you may have a charter, you might have a great plan, but how do you know if you're achieving those goals? How do you know if you're achieving the quality that you intend to receive? So we'll be looking a little bit deeper at that. Another final quote here by Seth Godin is, measurement is fabulous, unless you're busy measuring what's easy to measure as opposed to what's important. So we're going to be looking a little bit deeper at what is a good KPI versus what's a bad KPI. I'll come back to that question in a moment. Yes, there's a really good question in the chat. We're now in that second layer, which is the executable. Okay, so when we're looking at measuring, we're essentially executing our plan. Coming back to our processes, we're now in this blue middle section, and we're going to do a deeper dive into that. For the executable layer, we also have 7 processes. Okay, the 7 processes do not have to be done in this order. This is one of those layers where you figure out what you need and you perform them in the order that you feel is best for your PMO. But certainly a great place to start, in my opinion, is that governance and those policies and procedures. You need to know how decisions are being made, who are making the decisions, and the policies that you want to live by. This can tie into your ethics and your values as well. What are your missions and visions? So there you go. And then developing a proof of concept that is very much like doing a simulation or a prototype. It's like, okay, let's test our theory of how we think a PMO should operate, and then doing a simulation or just a smaller scale model of a PMO, testing that out, maybe testing your KPIs, seeing if those are effective. We are defining the PMO key performance indicators, and then of course tracking that through performance and using those KPIs to continuously improve. Defining the roles and develop competencies, that's in terms of your team. It's important to hire the right talent in the right roles. And of course, evaluating our return on investment. So I did say we would talk about what is a good KPI. Metric or KPI, what is the difference? The difference is that KPIs are laser focused on targets and objectives. By comparison, metrics are anything that measure processes. KPIs and metrics are not mutually exclusive. KPIs require more thought around targets, whereas metrics can exist without a target, but a KPI can't. In this example, they're saying page views over 5,000. That's an increase of 20.9%. At first glance, that looks like an excellent KPI. Oh, we've increased 20%. But what if your goal was to get to 10,000? So it's not really a fantastic measure when you look at it that way. So when you're defining your KPIs, truly think about those targets. They are harder to define. So a lot of people, like going back to our quote here, it's easy to do some metrics. It takes a lot more effort to come up with really good qualitative and quantitative KPIs. But give it some thought. Do take the time, put in the effort to think about those things. The more informed you are about your practice, the more effective you will be, and in the end, you will thank yourself. So what do you think? What are some examples of PMO KPIs? So another opportunity for you to do some self-reflection. Maybe list at least 5 KPIs that you think could be useful in a PMO. And if you can in the chat, please share at least one of those. So I'll give you a few moments to do some self-reflection on that. Thank you. Respond time to stakeholders' requests. That's excellent. Percent of projects delivered, percent of projects at RAG status. EBM, excellent, yes. Revenue, very good. Return on investment, yes. Oh, personnel retention, that's a great one. Yes. That's actually a metric we track right now because we are so low on nursing staff. So we work on, I have just started developing a KPI for that one. Those are really great. Cost per lead, yes. Average cost per hour, yes. Excellent. And when you're developing KPIs, and actually a lot of these exercises, these are fantastic things to do with your team, obviously, and using your team, because certainly as a leader, I don't know everything. And that's great opportunity to have those meetings and those brainstorm sessions and make this not about you as the leader and your PMO, make this just holistically about the organization and what we're doing to improve the performance of the whole organization, not just our PMO. Oh, these are great. Fail to deliver. Yeah, I like, yes. Number of projects and number of projects that are completed, number of that are incomplete, which ones are standing still. That's wonderful. Yeah, and you can have satisfaction surveys too. Like that's a great comment in the chat. Certainly, we should be measuring satisfaction. Obviously, like if you're not measuring customer satisfaction, then how do you know you're doing all the right things? So that's great. Just some examples here. Some PMO KPIs help your organization to improve project completion. And by all means, this is not an exhaustive list. These are just some examples. Improve predictions, improve stakeholder satisfaction, prioritize project to improve return on investment, faster time to market, improve resource management, improve process management, and optimize finances. So just some little examples there. Any questions about measurement coming up to your head right now? I know that there were some questions earlier that I will address at the end of the session. We have some time for Q&A. Okay. So we found our purpose, our foundation layer. We've measured. That's the executable layer. And now we're going to optimize. So in terms of our framework, that is that supporting and leadership. We're just going to make it better, make it totally awesome. Going back to our processes, we're now looking at those red huggable, I'm going to call them the huggable supporting layers, and that PMO leadership, that base layer, that rock that we stand on is that leadership. Make sure the whole thing doesn't crumble. It has to be strong. Let's talk about first those supportive layers or supporting layer. We have 9 processes in the supporting layer. The supporting layer makes sure that all of that work we've done with developing our foundation, our purpose, putting it into motion, measuring it, improving it, measuring it again, improving it again, all of that work is going to be fruitful. We want to make sure it continues. We want to make sure that people stick around and that we are supporting this PMO that we've put a lot of thought and work into. Obviously, we're going to have some stakeholder management, and I won't go through all of these in great detail. Environment is very important to me. I want to make sure we have a positive working environment, an environment where people feel valued, an environment where people feel they can learn and grow. I work in public healthcare, so we're not paying people as much as, say, oil and gas. I live in an oil and gas city as well. So what attracts people to work in my environment? A lot of people come to work with me because of me and the leadership and also that environment that we've helped foster. We foster collaboration. We foster value sharing. We like to have fun when we can. And it doesn't always have to be super serious. So it depends, you know, that those things go a long way. I did a sabbatical where I studied why employees leave. And the number one reason wasn't for money. It was because they didn't feel valued. And so those kinds of soft skills, and like we're going to talk about later, that emotional intelligence goes such a long way. Obviously, we leverage technology, but at the end of the day, who's delivering your project is the people. And so we'll be focusing a lot on that. Your team structure, making sure you have the right people in the right jobs and having that succession planning, because you want your employees to grow. You want them to move on. You need a plan, though, of how you're going to replace them when they do leave. And of course, you want to have agility. We haven't talked yet about agility, so an agile PMO. What is an agile PMO? This is actually from our guidebook. The key attributes of an agile PMO are to quickly respond to change in order to retain focus on outcome and benefits in a turbulent economy. And I think the key there is respond to change and as quickly as possible, to balance flexibility and stability, and to track and monitor project performances based on agile metrics. if you're not familiar with agility or agile project management, then in a nutshell, yeah, it really is about that. I like to use the word adaptability. It's that ability to some people say pivot. I like to say adapt to change. And that builds your resiliency as an organization and as a PMO. So that's the supporting layer. I like to call them the hugging layer, because in the image of the processes, these supports support the work that we're executing in our PMO. And now down to that leadership layer. Without this leadership layer, the pyramid will crumble. We cannot support a PMO without these three processes: the leadership, the sponsorship, and that emotional intelligence. I can't emphasize enough the importance of having a strong relationship with your sponsor. That has been everything to me in all of my experience. Is if you have a partnership, true partnership with your sponsor. If there's any relationship that you need to massage and work on, it would be with your sponsor. As long as you are both in alignment, as long as you are both communicating well, then that partnership will deliver nothing but golden goodness for the organization and also personally for yourselves. And I am so glad that this whole session tonight started with emotional intelligence, because serendipitously, and I didn't know that Zanina would be talking about that, but serendipitously, that is how I'm ending this conversation, because yeah, she actually said it really well, so I won't rehash it. There are several models of emotional intelligence. If you Google them, several different kinds of theories. This is just one of them, which shows the 4 pillars of emotional intelligence. Some of them, and I've done a lot of research on this, and I've taught classes in emotional intelligence as well. There are some that have 5 and some that have 6 different categories. But this one's a nice image because it shows the hand supporting. We have self-awareness. I think emotional intelligence should start with that. There's social awareness, which includes empathy. And some people confuse empathy with emotional intelligence. Empathy is just one aspect of emotional intelligence. It is not emotional intelligence, but it's just an aspect of it. We have self-management and relationship management. One of the most valuable things I took in training, so I worked in a university for a number of years, working on capital projects and also research projects at the university. And the nice thing about working at a university is you get a lot of free education. So I capitalized on that. So I took a lot of courses, and one of the most valuable courses I took was in conflict management. And I didn't know I needed it. It was just one of those things, oh, it's available. Yeah, sure. A friend of mine asked me to join her. Sure. I had no idea that I needed that kind of training. So very valuable to know that. It totally spearheaded me in understanding emotional intelligence a lot better. And also, and part of that was learning how to be more assertive. And I don't know if that's a female trait. I don't know if that's a cultural trait, because I grew up in a Lebanese home, but I certainly did not know how to be assertive enough. And being assertive doesn't mean being aggressive. Being assertive means you know how to communicate positively what you need. And that is far different from being aggressive. So just wanted to share that little tidbit. And that also spearheaded me in increasing my emotional intelligence. Am I where I want to be? Absolutely not. This is something that continues to grow. And it's not something that you can learn overnight. Even after taking classes, you still need to practice these skills. And it's only through the practice that you will increase your emotional intelligence. Another great way to increase your emotional intelligence is by getting a coach or a very good friend who will tell it to you straight, who will tell you the truth. And I have been so privileged in our PMI chapter here in Alberta, in Canada. We have a mentorship program. And I've been both a mentor and a protege. And if you can find that golden match, and I've been fortunate to have two people in my life where we've really connected, and we're honest with each other. We tell each other straight. And if you can get that kind of a relationship with somebody, that is pretty golden too. Why is emotional intelligence important in a leader? Improves your decision making, decreases occupational stress, reduces staff turnover, increases personal well-being, increases leadership ability, increases team performance. And the list can go on and on. Those are the processes. Let's just recap. Our project management office approach: purpose, measure, optimize. How do we do that? So that's great, Grace. How do we do that? We have these 4 layers. We starting with our foundation, we go to executable, and then we support and provide leadership. There are 26 processes from those layers that we can apply. The foundation, starting at the top with that business objective and aligning our PMO strategy with that objective. Executing and measuring, reiterating that continuous improvement. You know the wheel. You're going to be in this wheel a while until you get it right. And then it will change, and then you do it all over again. We know project management well enough to know that. And then hugging all of these processes is that supporting layer. And then that base that makes sure it doesn't all fall down. That strong base is that leadership, okay? That is everything in a nutshell. Are there any questions? And Nadine, is this the part where we go to Q&A, or is there someone else talking first?
We have one more speaker during our main session, and then we will have the QA part. So Grace, thank you so much for this brilliant session. Fast track your PMO. I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure all of our attendees joined too. So well structured and described in with colors, so amazing. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to pass the floor to Corinne. Corinne is Vice President of PMO Global Institute. She is responsible for promoting PMO learning through collaboration and the partnership program. Corinne is an expert communicator who has benefited from engaging in multiple work experiences across industry verticals, including finance, education, and hospitality. She has a deep understanding of the diversity of project management, gaining cross-cultural expertise from operating in 6 countries across 3 continents over the past 16 years. Corinne understands how hard it can be to drive constructive and lasting change in organizations. By sharing the knowledge of PMO Global Institute CBPMO framework and guidebook, Corinne strives to change the fabric of PMOs across continents by ensuring PMOs are not simply performing, but succeeding, thriving, and speaking the same global language. So Corinne, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nadine. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Does my video look really broken? Can you see my video? Yeah, I'm so sorry. I do apologize. But it's lovely to be with you all this evening in Greece. Greece is one of my favorite countries. You're so lucky to be there, and summertime with the water and the islands, and it's lovely to be with you tonight. So as Nadine said, my name is Corinne, and I'm the Vice President of Global Partnerships at PMO Global Institute. So we have done a lot of research over the last 3 years. We've done a huge research project with over 10,000 project managers in over 150 countries. We found that there is a huge gap in learning and knowledge when it comes to PMOs, and this is globally. If you ask somebody in Japan, what is a PMO, and you ask somebody in Canada, what is a PMO, they're likely to give you different answers. The reason why we created PMO Global Institute is to set the global standard when it comes to PMOs and to offer support to those PMO champions around the world. So please let me know, do we have anybody who is a PMO here tonight? Can you please type PMO in the chat box? Do we have anyone that is currently working or has worked in a PMO in the past? Please type PMO in the chat box. Let's have a look. How many of you in Greece are working within a PMO? Nobody. Really? Kostas, do you think that maybe there is a different definition, a different name for a project management office in Greece? Oh, fantastic. Since 2018. Since 2018. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we at PMO Global Institute, we're here to support PMO champions around the world. So what is a PMO champion? It's somebody who loves the job, who loves the processes, and they want the PMO to succeed. So globally, we see that around 75% of PMOs are failing within the first 3 years. Grace was just talking about maturity assessments, which is a great section in the foundation layer of the CBPMO framework. The maturity assessments globally, when you look at every country in the world, when you range from 0 to 5, meaning that 0 is real infancy and 5 is completely optimized, 88% of PMOs are achieving around a level 2. 88%. And we really feel that it doesn't need to be this way. At PMO Global Institute, we want to support you and, of course, increase the success rates of PMOs globally. This is our purpose. We want to save the industry trillions. So let me just share my screen with you. Let's have a look at this. Okay, so here I'd like to talk about careers within PMO. So let's have a look at a few roles within the project management office. So you can have PMO staff, PMO trainers and coaches, PMO officers, PMO managers, directors, and PMO sponsors. So there are 3 ways that we can support you at PMO Global Institute. The first way is to become a member. Nadine, please share the link to the membership for PMO Global Institute. It's completely free, and with this free membership, you all can have your own copy of the CB PMO framework. So it's a great thing to have as you're going into a project management office space. The second way is to become a paid member. So tonight, 5 of you are going to win the contest. With this prize, you can actually download the PMO guidebook for free. Here is the PMO guidebook. So the prize this evening is to download your own digital version of the PMO guidebook. So I hope you've all been taking notes. So first thing, become a member. The next thing is you can become a CB PMO consultant. So as Grace described, we actually have business partners of over 70 partners who are also authorized instructors for the CB PMO certification. So when you become a CB PMO consultant, this course is 21 hours long, and by the end of it, you'll know how to implement the CB PMO framework, going through the foundation layer, the executable layer, the supporting layers, and the PMO leadership layer with emotional intelligence, executive sponsorship. It's extremely helpful for the PMO space. Grace is our authorized instructor. She's with us tonight. So if you would like to take her course, we will be sharing her website and her upcoming training program with you. So the second way, become a CB PMO consultant. The third way is that you can become an authorized business partner of PMO Global Institute. So as I said, this entitles you to be an authorized instructor of the CB PMO certification. So if you love training, if you love being an instructor, and you'd like to help your community there within Greece, within Europe, and also globally, our business partner program will train you to be an authorized instructor for our CB PMO certification. So please, everybody, take a minute to sign up as a member, and you can see the CB PMO framework right there. I'm so looking forward to the quiz to see who can win the framework and the guidebook. So thank you very much, and I'll pass the floor back to Nadine. Thank you, Nadine.
Right. Corinne, thank you so much for letting us know about career opportunities in PMO. And now we have the QA part. So the main session is over. So let me ask some questions. All right. Okay, so the question will be addressed to Grace. What about the type of PMO, directive, controlling, and consulting? That was the question.
I'm assuming the question is with respect to what kind of a PMO should you set up? So I'll just base it on that assumption. Directive, controlling, or consulting, honestly, that depends on your organization and what you will work on with your sponsor in what will work best for the organization. And also comes down to those SMART goals, comes down to your leadership and how you operate best. I'm not here to give a personal opinion on my preference, but it does come down to making those decisions together and doing what's best for the organization. So it's very subjective. At the end of the day, yeah, sorry, I don't think that it matters as long as you are following those best practices and those best processes.
And here is the complementary question, I think. Is there a general structure a generic structure of a PMO that would suit any organization?
I would no, there really isn't, because it depends on your industry as well. In IT, you would do it very differently than you would in, say, manufacturing. So it does depend on your industry and your organization. So there's no one size fits all, and there is no silver bullet. You have to put in the legwork. It does take a considerable amount of effort to get anything started, and to get things going in the right direction.
All right, thank you, Grace. The next one question is DMAIC methodology with PMO as the process product. So I don't really see here the question, but if you get it, can you please answer?
Yeah, I'd need some clarity on what you mean by that. I know it's a lean methodology. I don't see why you wouldn't use any lean methodology in any organization. So if DMAIC is the way your organization's going, absolutely, you should incorporate it into your processes, policies, and that would be part of those discussions you'd have with your governance and your team.
All right, thank you. So the next one question, business objectives, VC project objectives. It was maybe from the framework. I'm not sure.
Oh, no, when we're developing a PMO, we are looking at the business objectives. And obviously that does not detract, that helps inform our PMO. And then a PMO operates many projects. So a project management office will have many projects. And then for each project, you will still have your project objectives and your project charter.
I see, thank you. So, and the next one question is concerning KPIs. And the question is, could it also be total satisfaction, how people feel in an organization?
Absolutely, yes, definitely.
All right. So do we have any other questions? Because I have copied all of them from our chat box.
Yeah, Nadine, I just want to highlight another one that is in the chat box. We see that there's a question regarding, you highlighted, you mentioned that, the PMO instruments, they score low in most of the countries, right? So any solid reason why we see this score, why, it's a common figure everywhere, why there is no high importance, and appearance on this structure?
Yes, there are many reasons. From our research, we found that there were actually a lot of inexperienced or accidental PMOs. So that's really one of the main reasons, the human factor. We found that the C-suite, they realize that they need a PMO, but they're not quite sure why or what type or what structure or what it's about. So there's a definite lack of education when it comes to the PMO space. And as I said, there's no global standard. So this is one of the main reasons. We also found that there's a real lack of policies and procedures and governance when it comes to a PMO. Our guidebook, it basically, half of it is to do with the knowledge. And then the second half is filled with templates and checklists and policies. We don't want organizations, particularly small to medium-sized organizations, wasting their time and getting this wrong. We want to deliver this platform and give them the policies, procedures, governance, templates, rather than wasting time and money. So there's many, many reasons for a PMO failure, but I think the human factor is absolutely a major one. As Grace said, regarding emotional intelligence, when you're trying to get everybody's buy-in, some project managers have been working in a certain way for 15 years, 20 years. It's very difficult to, change mindsets. So that emotional intelligence is definitely needed within the PMO.
Thank you so much, Corinne.
Thank you.
All right, Nadine.
All right. So if you have no more questions, let's go.
Somebody has a question. Sorry, somebody's raised his hand.
Yes, right. Spiros Rikis.
All right. Maybe Spiros, can you just, since we are not giving the rights for the microphone, can you just type your question? And we, since we're not using the right of the microphone, can you just type your question and we'll have Grace to answer it?
Maybe he put by mistake.
Maybe, who knows? All right, so okay, you can just go back, no worries. So we move.
Maybe later if he typed, we will answer after the Kahoot game. I want to say 2 words. I do not have a question.
It's a question.
A question.
Yeah, it's a question. So okay, Spiros, let's just move with the flow of the presentation, then we see how much time you have to, of course, give you the right to make share some words.
All right. Yeah, we will have time to say a vote of thanks after our Kahoot game. So, and right now, I'd like to ask everyone to take their phones in their hands, open the browser, and go through the link I've just typed it in our chat box. Now I'm sharing my screen. First of all, we would warm up. Just to know how to play the game. So let's warm up. Now you have to be ready to join and enter the PIN 24917111. So just type in the PIN. Okay, we have the first player. Kostis, Achilles, Alex. All right. You don't need to download any apps. Just go to the browser and go to the website kahoot.it and then insert the PIN 24917111. Okay, I think we have around 50, 60 members attended right now and only 14 players. Come on, let's play the game. It's still the warm up.
Yeah.
Just a training. So, all right, as far as it's just a training, let's start. Oh, 20, almost 20. Okay, let's start. We will train how to play the game. So only 2 questions. And the first one is, what does PMI stand for? Positive Managers Included, as we are, Project Managers Institute, Project Management Involved, Project Management Institute. I think we must have only correct answers here. But positive manager is also great. Who was the first one? Trevor. All right. Then let's move on. The second question is really hard. Where is the PMI Greece chapter located? Africa, Asia, Europe, the United States. So, very difficult question. All right, let's see. Who was the first one? Okay, so the third place goes to
Well done.
Alex, the second place. And the first one? The winner, Konstantinos.
Wow.
All right, now you know how to play the game. Now let's play the real one.
It's going to get more difficult, I promise.
Yeah. So reload your page and insert a new PIN code 1 5 7 0 6 4. We are waiting for players. So now we are playing the real contest where 5 lucky winners will get the full year membership, which actually costs $89, but you will get it for free and you will be able to download the digital copy of the PMO guidebook. So it's a great prize. Now we are playing the real game, not a warm-up. So looking forward to seeing all of you as participants. It's a great chance. Please insert the PIN 21576064. All right. So we have 25 players. We are starting in 5 seconds. 5, 4,
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, wait, Nadine, wait, they're still coming.
Okay, it was just a warm-up, Corinne.
Fantastic. We have 62 people here and only 27 players. Let's get to 30.
All right, don't be shy.
Yes.
No one will see if your answer not correct. It's not really difficult, but you have a great chance to win.
Hey, cherries. Yes.
Never give up. Oh, 30 players. 31.
Oh, 31. Fantastic.
Fantastic. All right. So, shall we start? Corinne, what do you think?
Let's go.
Let's go. All right, we are starting. 3, 2, 1. Okay, and the first question is, what is the role of a successful PMO professional? To manage all projects of PMO perfectly, to manage all the strategic functions that are offered to stakeholders, to manage all functions of a PMO, to perform PMO functions at a high level to generate greater value. All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's see. The correct answer is to perform PMO functions at a high level to generate greater value. Okay. Sorry. Next one. Let's see who was the first one. Kyriakidis. Applause. Great job. Only 10 scores behind is Neil. Hurry up. The second one question is, a PMO should always align with the business case and strategy, business case and policy, business case and objective, none of the above. Let's think. PMO should always align with business case and strategy, business case and policy, business case and objective, none of the above. All right, the correct answer is business case and strategy. Let's have a look at our scoreboard. We have a new one. First place goes to Apostolis. Yeah, let's move on. And the third question is, one of the objectives of setting up a PMO is what? To share money, to share files, to optimize resource utilization, to share devices. All right. One of the objectives of setting up a PMO is to share money, to share files, to optimize resource utilization, to share devices. Let's have a look. The correct answer is to optimize resource utilization. Right. Let's have a look at our scoreboard. We have the panelists, 2029 scores. Great. Let's move on. The first question is, why does the PMO typically fail? inexperienced PMO, failure to streamline processes, sponsor doesn't realize PMO benefits, all of the above. Let's remember what Grace was talking. Okay, definitely all of the above. Okay, 6 players just hit answer streak 3. Perfect, well done. Let's move on. The 5th question is, what does the PMO approach mean? P, project, measure, optimize, program, measurement, optimize, purpose, measure, optimize, or pizza, margarita, onions. Yes, right, definitely purpose, measure, optimize. Let's have a look at our scoreboard. Wow, so quick, Apostolis, Alex, Penas. Move on. The 6th question is, what are the common KPIs of a PMO? Improve project completion, faster time to market, improve stakeholder satisfaction, all of the above. What are the common KPIs? We spoke a lot today. Or definitely all of the above. Let's have a look at our winners. Apostolis, Alex, Penas, Konstantinos, Christos. Great job. Let's move on. Still we have 3 questions, actually 4. What does the PMO guidebook stand for? A guide to the project management office, a guide to the portfolio management office, a guide to the program management office, a guide to pizza, margarita, onions. What does the PMO guidebook stand for? Right, a guide to the project management office. Let's have a look if you have a new one. Doros.
Yeah. It's all change.
Yeah.
It's all change.
It's a tough competition. Let's move on. The 8th question is, how many layers does the CBPMO framework have? 3, 5, 4, 2. How many layers? 3, 5, 4, 2. Try to remember. Okay. Last chance. 3, 2, 1. And the correct answer is 4. 4 layers. Let's have a look if we have a new one participant. Talia. All right. Still 2 more questions. And the next one is, the PMO strategy component is linked to which layer in CBPMO framework? Foundation layer, supporting layer, executable layer, leadership and sponsorship layer. The PMO strategy component is linked to which layer in CBPMO framework? Foundation layer, supporting layer, executable layer, PMO leadership layer. Right, foundation layer. Let's have a look. Is anything changed? All right. And the last one question. Who will define winners? What is the name of the PMO certification from PMO Global Institute? Certified Baseline PMO Consultant, Certified Baseline Project Consultant, Certified Baseline PM Consultant, Certified Baseline Pizza Consultant. Actually, we have the answer in our chat box. It's a small tip. All right. Sure, it's Certified Baseline PMO Consultant. And now let's see our
Doros.
goes to us. And the second one, Constantinos, and the first one, Alex.
Alex, congratulations! Congratulations. Can all the top three please write your email in the chat box and we will send you your paid membership. That would be fantastic. Nadine is just looking for number 4 and number 5.
Right. So we have the winners. The first place, Alex, Constantinos. The second one, the third, Doris. The fourth, Penis. And the fifth, Talia. So please type.
Sorry, Nadine, so since I'm the second one, let me pass for Thalia, or for the next one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6, this one.
It's Kyriakidis, so I will get it. Forget it.
Forget it?
Okay. I thought someone else was next.
Thank you, Konstantinos. I think that we should pass the invitation for another member, I think.
Okay, guys, shall we go for number 7, GK?
I don't trust him.
No, I think that Kostas deserves it as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah, okay, then I will try to transfer the knowledge.
Thank you, Thalia. We have your email. So we're looking for 3 more emails, please. Winners.
Yeah, at any chance, if someone does not feel comfortable to share the chat box their mail, they can send directly to us, after the meeting, and can share with Corinne and Nadine. So no worries.
Okay, thank you so much. So we have finished our event for today, and on behalf of PMO Global Institute, I'd like to say thank you to all the team, PMI Greece chapter, and also attendees. We are pleased to be virtual guests at PMI Greece chapter, and it was an absolute pleasure to collaborate with you. And we also will keep in touch with all of you, most leaning to learn and share their knowledge and experience. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nadine. And on behalf of PMI Greece chapter, I want to thank you so much for this great event today. And honestly, it was a pleasure, participating in this event. We really enjoyed the game, right? Something new. Thank you so much for that. Okay, I want to tell everybody that there's no any hidden agenda. Konstantinos did not know the answers, in advance, so it's a fair play, right? Okay, so thank you everybody. It was really a nice session, a nice workshop, and please participate in our next events. Our team will send shortly the mails and the registration links you can find. And always a pleasure to be all together and discuss all these beautiful topics. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Have a lovely evening.
Have a lovely evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.